Hello, party people. I'm back with Tiffany from Deepwater Games, and now she's going to talk about some of the games from their partnership with Emperor S4. So go ahead and take it away. There's a lot of games here. So
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Buckle up. All right, we got 7 titles. So first off, I'm just going to go through in the order that we kickstarted them. So yeah, first up, we have Herbalism. Herbalism is a game for 3 to 4 players, and I like to call it herb counting the game. So in the game, you have a deck of cards. You know the distribution of those cards. You shuffle up the deck. You take 2 of those cards, and you put them to the side. You deal the rest of the deck out. Players will then trade and pass information to try and figure out what those 2 cards are that have been taken out of the deck. So the first person to figure out correctly what those 2 cards are will score more points. And you're actually going to play several hands doing that until you hit a certain point total that you have decided that you're going to go for.
Yeah.
In the game, we say 7, but go to 5, go to 9.
Yeah.
Go whatever you want to do.
All right.
Yeah. I really like this game. It makes me very sad that it just does not work 2-player. Cannot exist for the mechanic.
Oh.
I know. It's the worst. But I really like it 3-player and 4-player because there's absolutely no downtime. Because if you don't pay attention to other people's turns, you will lose horribly.
I'm just going to run this. The art is beautiful in that game.
You're going to be saying that a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Crows Overkill.
Yeah.
So there's a song in Japanese lore that basically says, I would kill the crows in the world for another moment or night with you. And so this is a game for 2 to 4 players, and it's a little bit of a twist on that song. And the idea is that you are samurais home from the war for one night with your lover, and the crows keep trying to wake them up. And if the lover wakes up, they will send you back to war, and you don't want that. So you are killing birds. So it's a pressure luck. Take that player elimination game, plays in about 15 minutes, 2 to 4 players.
Yes.
And the idea is you have crows that come to your room, and you will be using various cards to get rid of those crows via means. So this one is definitely kind of more of like a casual party-ish game for 2 to 4 players. Plays really quick. The theme's a little interesting, but the art is gorgeous, and it works really well in like kind of a more like bar, cafe, fun, party.
I like that though, like lunchtimey kind of things. I always tell people filler, lunchtime, get it done. You know, one more game type of thing.
If you're cool messing with each other and screwing each other over, this is the game for that. So that's that one. Then we have Shadows in Kyoto. This is a 2-player only game, so this is 2-player specific. And this is a hidden movement tactical strategy game. And it's set in the world of the same world as Hanamakoji, which is in the streets of Kyoto. And so the idea in this one is that one player takes on the role of the government and the other player takes on the role of the mafia. And each of you has agents, and 2 of your agents are important because they have secret information. And you win the game if one of your agents that have secret information get across the board. Or you win if you can capture the 2 important agents from your opponent. Or you win if you can trick or coerce your opponent into capturing 3 of your non-important agents. And so there's 3 different win conditions. You use cards for movement. That is the base game. And then there are 2 variants that you can add on top for advanced play as you play the game more and more and more. And they're asymmetrical powers. The game starts really balanced, and then you can add on the weapons or the geisha cards to have unique powers, and all of those are unique. And so you can play differently in different styles. Like one player is more offensive and one is more defensive and things like that. So I really like it because when it's 2-player, it's really easy to teach the basic game, and it's very quick once you do it. Once the basic game's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You've
yes, I played it.
Yeah. But as you add the advanced variants, it can get more tactical, it can get more strategic, and you can also even set it up and do like drafting of the advanced variants.
That's something I wanted to explore with it, because the drafting just brings more into the fold.
So once you already know what those advanced powers are, I try out the drafting. So but that's Shadows in Kyoto.
Yes. And if you didn't notice, these are all, like I always say, like they're quick, but they're really smart games. You know, like smart games.
These small box games, the idea is that small box game, but like big impact on your brain and fun and beautiful and So this is Hanzi. Hanzi is Kanjal. If you backed our Kickstarter, you know the history behind Hanzi. But Hanzi is a quick memory game. It's 2 to 5 players, takes about 15 minutes to play. But in the game, you're actually learning the characters, Chinese characters, to write or read Mandarin. And you learn a little bit about the cultural signifiers that these characters have been based on, because Chinese characters are pictographs, essentially, or pictograms, and so they're all based on imagery that relates to the word that they represent. And so this memory game teaches you those and uses that as part of the game. So you memorize those and what they mean to learn the characters to try and complete cards and find things. So it's an educational game. It's very interactive, and it's pretty quick. And if you have ever been interested in Chinese and learning that, or you're just interested in learning a little bit about the culture, or you just want a fun memory game with an interesting and unique theme, Hanzi.
Wow. Talking big. I like that. I like it. Yeah.
I lived in China, actually. I don't know a lot of people know that. I spent a summer living in Hong Kong, and I tried really hard to learn how to read Cantonese or Mandarin, but
of course.
So I really wish that this had existed when I was there, because I would have learned more than Fire Exit and Subway. So yeah, so that's Hanzi. So then we have our second Kickstarter games. These ones, all the 4 that I just went over, are available in stores soon, if not already. So go to your friendly local game store and ask about them, or they're available on our website at deepwatergaming.com. These are our second Kickstarter games. They're being fulfilled to Kickstarter backers now. You could also come and get them at Origins, but they're going to be in stores probably just before Gen Con. So Mystery of the Temples is kind of the flagship one that we did for the Kickstarter. Small box, beautiful impact, and the table presence is also really gorgeous. So in this game, there's a rondel. You're doing workers movement action selection, and what is happening is you and the other players are curse breakers. You're gathering crystals that have power in them, and you're going to temples, and you're playing those crystals in a certain order to break the curses of those temples. And as you acquire the crystals, the tricky part in the game is as you acquire the crystals, you need to make sure you put them on your player board in the right order, because when you go to the temple to break the curses, if you have the crystals in the wrong order, you can't break the curses. So you have to plan a little bit more efficiently than people just think when they look at it.
Yeah.
You can always pay crystals to swap stuff and do things, but if you can play more efficiently, where you don't have to do that, it's better.
I just like that, like you said, it's beautiful, but at the same time, don't judge a book by its cover. Get down and play it. It's way more strategic than you think.
Exactly, yeah. The only luck in this game is there's rune cards that you can get, which have a minor set collection, but they give you bonuses for going to certain locations. And that's the only randomness, is that deck is shuffled and dealt out evenly to the 5 temples. So when you break a curse on a temple, you get one of those cards. But you can see what card you're going to get, so you can plan which one you want to go for. And that's the only luck factor in the entire game. So it's almost pure strategy in that regard.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it's 2 to 4 players.
2 to 4 players.
2 to 4 players, 20 to 40 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's Mystery of the Temples.
Thank you. Keep them coming. These are some great games. Keep them coming.
Sorcerer and Stones.
Yes.
So Sorcerer and Stones, if you didn't know, it's 2 to 4 players. 30 to 60 minutes, 45 minutes, depends. And in this game, it's hard for me to say what kind of games. It's like a set collection.
It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you're collecting sets to complete artifacts, which are basically sort of like contracts.
Right.
And there's movement involved.
Yeah.
And then there's pattern recognition.
Yeah, just pattern recognition.
Yeah. So, but in the game, you're sorcerers, and you are manipulating the elemental realm. Rotating, physically, there's tiles with blocks on them, and you're rotating them and shifting them to try and match up color pairs on these tiles. And when you do that, you gain one of the stones that you've matched up in a pair, and you use those stones to craft artifacts.
Right.
And those artifacts are worth points. But in addition, when you pick up those stones, your spirit moves in the spirit realm on locations that correspond to the stone you picked up, and you use that to gain bonus tiles, which will give you points, but more importantly, they will make the artifacts you craft more effective and give you more points.
Yeah.
I really like this game, 2 to 3 player. It plays 4 players, and you play. I just would recommend only playing 4-player with people that have played before. 1, there's AP, and 2, there's a lot of things that happen on people's turns, so the board state changes a lot between turns. So with 4 players, the board's going to change drastically before it's your turn again. Yeah. So some people don't like that. Some people are fine with it. So just a heads up on that one.
Yeah, I did a preview of that game. It was amazing. It blew me away, especially with that sideboard thing. I had it just blew my mind. I was like, oh, there's something extra to worry about here. There's more to it. Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah,
great game.
Great game. And the cover is just super grasping.
Yes, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it basically sells itself on the cover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It passes the shelf test, as I tell people.
yes, it does. Yeah. So that's Sorcerer and Stones. And this is actually an empty box. Yeah. It's lighter. There's lots in here, I promise, when you buy it. That's why I'm like hoisting it around.
The Big Daddy.
So Roundhouse is the last one. And this is the heaviest game in the line, and like literally and strategically. So this is a heavy Euro game, and it's 2 to 5 players. And I like to say that it's probably like 20 minutes a player.
Okay.
If you play it a lot, like you get there. But I like to say it's that. It's worker placement, rondo movement, action selection in a roundhouse. So the story is in a province in China. That's slipping my mind right now, and I'd probably mispronounce it. They have villages that just live in these huge buildings, and like the chickens are in the courtyard in the center, and the farm animals are like in stalls underneath, and then like the upstairs rooms are where families live, and where they have shops, and where they like process the farm, like the food from the farm, and the animal products and things like that. And so the whole village is in the house. In this game, you have 2 family leaders who are going around the house making deals and contracts, trying to earn the most points and notoriety within the house to become the most popular or noble family inside the house. And so there's a lot going on in this game. You can get contracts and complete contracts for points, but when you complete contracts, they give you a bonus for the rest of the game, so you can kind of build an engine that's around contracts. And then you have assistance that's like a third currency beyond just resources and money, and you can send the assistants out to help build you support and notoriety in villages, and then you can use those to gain popularity at the temple, which gives you more points. And then there's a set collection mechanic on like how to get There's so many things that you can do in this game, and they all tied in together, and they make sense thematically. But it's one of those ones where, and the board changes, there's tiles, so you change which rooms you're playing with every time you play. So there's a lot in this game.
There's a lot in this game. I demoed it yesterday, and it was just absolutely amazing. I was like, wow, there's a lot going on here, but after one round, you just get it. You just do. Like, It's like, wow.
The teach isn't that awful.
Right.
I sat down, and somebody's like, I just want the elevator pitch, and I taught it to them. So, and then they just started playing.
Yeah,
so.
it is that easy,
Yeah, so that's Roundhouse. Like I said, it is the heaviest title. If you like heavier, like economy-based, resource management-based Euro games where you have to think lots of different options and you have to evaluate which one's the best one for the contracts that are out and that kind of stuff, like check out this one.
All right, wow.
And that's it.
We did it.
Woo!
All right, Tiffany, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing those games from Deepwater, but also brought to you by Emperor S4.
Yes, so we partnered with Emperor S4, so they did most of the production and like artwork, and we made them available here.
Yeah, and if you don't mind mentioning that, because I know there was a big thing about, you're addressing like colorblindness and all these types of things. So just can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one of the things that Deepwater Games wants to do is we want to make the games as inclusive and diverse and also accessible as we can. And for some of the titles that we're bringing over from Emperor S4, we can do that. We have the resources, we have the time, we have the money, mostly, to do things to make things more accessible. So for example, Mystery of the Temples uses plastic gems for the powered crystals, and you can't make plastic gems colorblind friendly, like it just doesn't work. You could do unique shapes, but then you have to get molds, and those are really expensive, and that would turn this $25 game into like a $40 game.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we did was we made sure all the art has unique icons for each color crystal, which it didn't before. We added that, and then we made sure that there were cardboard chips that represented each of the plastic gems.
Okay.
So if you're playing with someone who is colorblind, you can play with the plastic gems and then just substitute out the plastic gems they're struggling with in regards to color for the cardboard tokens.
Okay.
Wow. And so, we had some playtesters that played it for us and said that, like, honestly, what they did was they literally just put the cardboard token in the pool.
Okay.
And then they, like, had their own, and so they still played with the gems because they liked the feel of the gems.
Right.
Which I don't blame them.
Right.
But they had it where they had the cardboard tokens in the location, so they could see and be like, oh, those are the yellow ones.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. So that's what we did with this one.
Wow.
And we really, moving forward with games that we produce in-house or that we are producing, we are going to make sure that things like that are considered. Color blindness, especially. Unique iconography for colors, things like that. Certain titles we really wanted to and we looked into, but we just couldn't do it. So Sorcerer and Stones uses colored blocks, wooden blocks.
Right.
And we could change the colors in the game, but there needs to be 5 colors, and trying to get 5 colors so this one we weren't able to update. So if you are colorblind for a specific color, I would highly recommend you look at the back of the box and have somebody that does not have the same color blindness as you double check to see that you can tell the difference between stuff, because I don't want you purchasing a game that you can't play. Kind of the same for Roundhouse. There's a lot of cubes, there's a lot of colors. Unless you wanted to sticker additional every cube, it just wouldn't work. So that's one of the things that we're trying to handle and we're trying to deal with on stuff that we can do on the scale that we can do. Yeah. But moving forward, as we work, we're working with Emperor's 4 in partnership. So even the games that they're producing now that we aren't necessarily printing now, but we might in the future, they're realizing and they're asking us, like, how can we make this colorblind friendly? Like, what colors can we use? What should we do? How can we make this affordable when we're actually producing it the first time? So that's one of the things that we're doing at Deepwater Games with Emperor's 4 titles. In addition to other titles that we're partnering with and that we're developing in-house.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. This con has been crazy. We're winding up, so thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me on. And deepwatergaming.com.
Look at you. All right, party people. This is Jeremy from Jambalaya Plays Games. I'm still doing a little bit more of Origins coverage, so stay tuned.